All right, so previously installed this Thermalright Peerless Assassin 120 SE, and had a lot of positive comments, but a lot of negative comments. I gypped you guys and did not show some of the fan connections done, and I realized that that's made life a little more difficult for some of you than it should have. So what I'm going to do in this video, I'm going to completely take this apart, and then we are going to build it back up, and I'm going to actually make sure I show you those connections. Now, on top of that, I think that was filmed in 1080p. We're doing 4K 60 FPS. I actually thought about doing 8K, but this is probably good enough for most of y'all, right? Hell, who's got 8K out there? All right, so if you needed to take this apart, you're going to come in here, grab the fan brackets on each side, pop that away, put that over to the side, do the same over here with this one. Now, what you guys did not see in that video were these, this Y splitter here. So I'm going to disconnect this, the CPU fan header, disconnecting it, going to disconnect the Y cable from each fan header, if I can get it out of there. There we go. Helps if you put your fingers in the right spot. And there. So this was the cable, folks. It should be in your box that I didn't show you. I'm going to go ahead and take the fan brackets off too. So that's, back to what it was originally. All right, now to get the CPU cooler out of here, we need a rather long Phillips head. I'm going to loosen both sides a little bit at a time. This is LGA 1700 motherboard. So, there may be somebody out there later that needs to know how to disassemble this. Or wants to have an idea of, whether it's going to be a pain in the butt. So, I have this bad feeling. Yeah, there we go. All right. I'm going to clean the thermal paste off. And then I'm going to take these brackets completely off. Then we're going to start all over again. All right, so that's all cleaned up. Yeah, so you do these videos, you get varying levels of expertise. Some people don't want to read directions, so they watch a YouTube video. Some people, sometimes the directions are so bad, you need a video, right? I mean, hell, I'll make these videos. Sometimes I have to watch videos. Just kidding on that. But all right, so we're getting this out. I am using what I believe is probably a number 2 Phillips. And hopefully there we go. So it's important, to put all your parts to the side where you're not going to lose them. These blue spacers. Now, if you were doing this for a LGA 1200, you'd want to make sure you grabbed the right spacers that go with that. This is my Aris Z690 Elite AX motherboard. Probably my second favorite motherboard that I have. The only one that I like more is my Aris Ultra Z690. Both of them are DDR5. And so it would appear Man, those are really in there. That's something. So they've actually somewhat deformed, probably because I tightened them maybe a little too much. That's what happens, folks, when you're... All right. So we were back completely at the beginning, right? Well, maybe not. You guys want to see how to put the CPU in too, right? So we'll do that as well. And now we've taken the CPU out. We want to put a CPU cover on there. All right, so putting the cover back on, boom. This thing's ready to, you know, be resold. Oh, not quite. You still got your RAM on there. Let's take our RAM off too. We're really trying to get this back to where we started. I am not going to mess with the M.2 though. All right. So this is pretty much, you know, where we were. Hey folks, so in this video we're going to install the Peerless Assassin 120 SE by Thermalright. Let's go ahead and get our CPU installed. There's a triangle here, the very bottom, and a triangle on our CPU, all right? We want to actually line those up. So we're going to pop that open. And I think this is my i9-12900KS. Which is probably my second most favorite CPU at the moment. So we're going to drop that in there. Be very gentle with it. Amazing how these were, you know, $600 not long ago. And they are now very affordable. I got this for a little over $300. I'm just going to clean up a little bit of that thermal paste that I left. All right, so from this standpoint, folks, we're just going to drop this cover down and that'll pop off all on its own. And then I'm going to put my finger here to make sure this goes underneath that. And boom, we're locked in. All right. Now, we've got our backing plate. We want to stick this in the holes. If you are going to keep this permanently on here, take the tape off and that'll stick to this thing for a very long time. It'll actually be really difficult to get off. I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do, folks, let's make sure you can see this. I'm not going to remove the tape. But to ensure that stays in place, I come in low to the counter or the table, whatever you're working on, and slide that over and into position. And then that will stay on there, right? Of course, the bottom of the motherboard's getting stuck on the rubber mat there. So we've got that in. We've got our spacers. And hopefully these didn't get too jacked up from the previous installation. They actually look ever so slightly deformed. Interesting. That one does not want to sit down. All right, well, we'll work that out. So, all kinds of different designs of these plates, spacers out there. We've got this bracket here. We've got to make sure that we line this up correctly. Because nothing worse than putting it on there and going, oh, the fan's in the wrong spot. We want the fan oriented this way. All right, this is pretty much symmetrical along the line there. I want it to look like that. So that means, folks, these have to go like this, all right? Now, I haven't necessarily found a perfect way to do this, but magnetic screwdriver helps. I'll put one in, then come over to the other side and line this up. Try and get a few threads on each side and then drop that down. Now I'm going to tighten this one and then go back to the other side. And if I was completely ambidextrous, I would probably do both of these at one time. That would block the the camera. You'd have these two massive guns in the way. All right. So we've got that. And last time, you know, you want to make sure these are nice and tight. I may have made them a little too tight last time. Probably not going to be the problem for most of you. I'm somewhat retired power lifter, so I still have quite a bit of strength, and we have a tendency to overdo some things. All right, so dropping that in. You see I'm doing this one a little different. I actually put the screws both in at the same time. And you can, if you were looking at the angle I'm looking at, you would see I'm having problems getting this other one down in the hole. All right, so we're lining that. We've got them lined up, tightening them down. And these brackets should be, I believe, for both LGA 1200, 1151, and 1700. All right. So that's nice and tight. I believe this came with Thermalright TF7. I'm going to use TF4 in this video, only because that's what I have sitting around. And, you know, you can do one big dot in the middle. I actually like to do a line in the middle, and then a smaller line here. Just to ensure it spreads. You don't want to go too ridiculous with your thermal paste, but yet not having enough isn't a good thing either. All right, so trying to line these up with obviously those threaded posts. I don't know if we can get a better angle for you all. All right, let's go with this angle, folks. So if these are not lined up very well, this can be kind of difficult, right? The distance between the two threaded posts. And I'm just trying to get, you want to get a couple threads on one and then get the other one. And so I don't have the second one. Still don't have it. And this can happen, folks, if the brackets are ever so slightly off. You definitely do not want to drop your screwdriver. All right, so that one's in now. Couple more threads on this side, jump back to the other side. We want this to spread evenly. Maybe that's not the right word, but as we're dropping this down, you don't want to overdo one side, which would push the thermal paste across, completely across the CPU. We want it to spread evenly, distributing it. That way the thermal paste is filling in those voids that there may be and providing that all right, so that's on there nice and tight. Now, for what we shafted you guys out of in the previous video, let's do this first. I'm gonna take our Y splitter, all right? So actually it's not really a splitter, is it? We're taking two signals, putting them into one. I'm gonna hook this up first, all right? And so the 4-pin from one fan goes in here, all right? And make sure you come in 90 degrees. That's good. And then the second fan, grabbing that cable, gonna put that in there. All right, so we're good there. Now I'm gonna go ahead and plug this in. So hopefully you guys can see that. CPU fan, all right. Now I'm holding the camera stand with one hand and doing this with the other. Some of you might have better luck using two hands to do this. And boom, that's in, all right. So we got that connection. Now one thing we'll notice, we might have problems getting our RAM in, right? So after we put our fans in, so let's go ahead and put our RAM in. Now the RAM can go in here only one way, as one of these is shorter than the other. And so it should go hopefully just like that, or not. If you screw up, you can see that this notch is over here to the right. So that means I put that in wrong. And I need to swap these around. Now I should get a double click. All right, that's what I'm looking for. That was a teaching moment, folks. All right, so same thing, second one. That's good now. All right, now we got to put our brackets in, all right? Let's step over here. We're going to do these one at a time. Now our fan, teaching moment again, intake side, exhaust, all right? We'll do the outside one first. So we want cool air to be sucked in through here, exhausted on this side, across our, so basically our airflow is going this way, all right? And then out this end where the IO shield's gonna be. So how do we get that to work out? Well, we're gonna come over here and we're gonna want to orient it this way. See, we have a lot of cable here. Sometimes we can get these to wrap around here like so, and then put them in, all right, if we're lucky. And depending on how tall your RAM is, you may find that this fan does not sit down very low, which is kind of a negative. One of the negatives about that really awesome colored, or the RAM that has all the nice RGB stuff on it, is that you might have this fan sitting higher. You want to ensure that you're able to cool the base of the tower as best you can. All right, so this bracket is going to hook into this hole, hook into that hole, and then boom, all right? That goes in like so. Now, let me rotate this around. We'll do the other side. And hopefully we'll catch this cable in here so that it's not able to freely move around. And we did not do a good job. All right. So that's in there. So that's the first one, folks. You're halfway there. All right. Now, this guy, you could potentially get it to work this way. I find usually putting the brackets on ahead of time is easier. All right. So we're going to want to do that. And orientation, intake side matches up with that one, okay? You don't want the fans blowing counter to each other. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this in place. So we redid this, from the other video where I was kind of just in a hurry to get that thing in. This is probably definitely a little better install. And I hope that you guys are able to actually see everything. So I put those in the holes again, boom. And folks, we're good to go, right? You can tighten up these cables a little bit, hide them, do whatever. That's your problem, not mine. Thanks for checking out the video. I hope you got something out of it. Please like, please subscribe. Thank you.